Now the next speaker is Paul Nuttall. Ich begrüße Sie ganz herzlich hier in unserer Runde.
Let me welcome you very warmly here. This is your first time here.
It's not the first time, and I must start by thanking my colleague Chris Davis for noticing my attendance. It's jolly nice. Well, basically, I'll start by saying that the British press have basically ignored the EU angle or the European angle on the scandal of horse meat, because, quite frankly, there are 3 points here which have to be made. Food safety is a competence of the European Union under Regulation EC number 178/2002, which transfers responsibility of food safety from London to Brussels. And this is further compounded by Regulation EC 854/2004. Prior to this, in the UK, we had some of the most stringent hygiene standards as a result, primarily because of the BSE crisis in the 1990s. And basically what the European Union has done is it's shifted responsibility of food safety onto the producers rather than government agencies. Now, Chris said earlier that food labelling is also the responsibility of the member state. Well, let's look at Directive 2000/13/EC. I've got it in front of me right here, and I've got a legal opinion too, which, quite frankly, food labelling is also an EU competence. Now, this is where the problem really lies, because you have a problem whereby we're not ensuring that the food is safe, and then we're also labelling it incorrectly, so people are eating a different kind of food than the one which they think they have purchased. And in some cases, horse is quite offensive to people. Now, I quite like horse personally, but to some people in the UK in particular, it's offensive to eat horse. Now, the third problem that I can see is our beloved single market. We wax lyrical about how wonderful this single market is in the UK, as if the world would crash in if we weren't part of this single market. Well, look, in a lot of cases, the food has travelled across 5 different countries. 5 different countries are involved in the food chain, and I put it to you that it is almost impossible to police. Now, the single market itself ensures that services can cross borders with minimal monitoring. So therefore, I will make a plea here today and say that these competences should be handed back to the member states, because I believe that red tape and bureaucracy can be unravelled by doing this. We can actually become even more self-sufficient and not reliant on other nations, and the consumers will be more protected at a national level. And what I do hope, and I really ask the Commission not to do this, is to use this crisis as an excuse to increase the competences and the powers of the European Union, because the one thing that we usually find is that when something like this does happen, whether it's economically or whether it's in the case of food, for example, that the EU uses these things as an excuse to grab yet more power for Brussels and take more power away from national democracies. Thank you.
Vielen Dank.
Thank you very much for your maiden speech.